The following video, the left side is Kristin singing in December 2019. Freestyle singing, just making up her own song, okay, about living happily ever after.
Like that whole song we just made up.
And it was through a process of social self-engagement. Kristin was singing to herself in the rearview mirror of a car that she was sitting in. And these social self-engagement practices were the cornerstone of her everyday experiences, helping to distinguish the awareness of self from the experiencer of self, and then allowing for a greater ability for distinction and connection between self aspects while living with dozens of independent states of consciousness. At that time, Kristin was living with over 100 disabling health challenges, including a severe mind-body disconnect and alternate states of consciousness while living with adaptable consciousness condition. You can find out more about that through my known documentary series, including part 1 that shares her story and the journey of what's led me to the work that I do now. Video links for that are in the video description below. And then on the right side is me singing now. And then after this video clip will be a video about December 2020 and 2021. So linking 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022 in the December time frame-ish, towards the end of the year, and all about living happily ever after and the journey of brain-body integration that welcomes parts of consciousness home, healing homecomings for aspects of the self, as parts are united and able to connect with each other and to a brand new present moment that has never happened before. Infinite moments of happily ever after await us all. It's beginning to look a lot like happily ever after. Take a look at the magic around and take a look at the miracles inside. We no longer need to fear or hide. It's beginning to look a lot like happily ever after. And we know we have just begun, and the healing journey is now. And the magic within us is so profound. It's beginning to look a lot like happily ever after. And there is no confining restraints. The healing in us can't be tamed. And we know the best is yet to come. It's beginning to look a lot like happily ever after. And I know that these healing moments are the way we reclaim our power. Write our story each and every hour. It's beginning to look a lot like happily ever after. And we shed the fear inside. We no longer need to hide. And we know the best is yet to come. It's beginning to look a lot like happily ever after. And we love being many persons. We love this magical life. And we release the need to focus on pain or strife. It's beginning to look a lot like happily ever after. And we have many persons within.
Infinite parts
And
within.
we're allowed to have such a cheeky grin. It's beginning to look a lot
like happily
ever after. The sun is shining down and the clouds are moving past. And these moments come and go so sweetly fast. It's beginning to look a lot like happily ever after. And the years of pain we faced are healed through our loving grace. And every moment of our relentless courage is creating these moments of happily ever after, where we get to breathe and be and rejoice in the healing sound of this freedom that feels so profound. And know that we are not defined by experience.
Using the melody of a song that our unconscious subconscious is familiar with because of chronic repetition over the years, like A Christmas Carol, and then consciously choosing new words for it is one of the most powerful ways that we connect with our parts. Because it connects all the 4 main brain regions that can often become disconnected during dissociative experiences of consciousness, from what we've noticed anyway.
Super fascinating, actually, that concept of using the background melody of a song that comes up in a new way is actually one of the prompts in Healing into Happiness playbook. But when Kristin wrote that in 2020, she did not have memory of that experience from 2019. So just infinite miracles. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for exploring these content creations. And for more magic, check out all that I have to offer through Kristin's Consciousness Consultancy. Oh my goshness, no way. Okay, so wow. When Kristin was starting to develop the Personal Dimensions Mirror Play with Mirror Power Subconscious Unveiling and Transformation Techniques, such a long name for one journey. What's that all about? You're going to have to check out the playbook that explains it to find out what that's all about. You can find out more in the video description below. But when Kristin started to create the subconscious transformation technique in the autumn of 2021, she was actually using that idea also, but at that time, she did not have memory of this video that's playing here from 2019 Or from the experience of writing the Healing into Happiness playbook from 2020, when she wrote a prompt about it, she had no memory of those experiences and yet used the exact same idea in the autumn of 2021 during her mirror play practices to start recovering childhood memories that were totally disconnected and unable to be consciously accessed. My mind is so blown. This is so cool. Using the background melody of songs with new words to link brain hemispheres and regions that don't have connection is also amazing. What?
The forebrain, the cerebrum, with conscious thought as the words are chosen. Like that whole song we just made up. Like we were just singing. We weren't singing from something we'd made up before. We were just singing. So the forebrain, the cerebrum. I get it mixed up. They both start with C. Cerebrum, the forebrain, is the part choosing the conscious thought. And then that connects with the hindbrain, which has the unconscious memory of a familiar melody. So the tune was coming from back here, but the words were coming from up here. And that was connecting the mind and the body that often become disconnected for us. And then very similarly, the melody of singing was coming in working in our right brain. And the choice of thought, or the choice of words, sorry. So the melody is coming from our right brain hemisphere, and then the words being chosen were coming from our left brain hemisphere, and those regions can often become separated within their connectivity of consciousness during dissociative experiences of consciousness. And so singing sporadically with a familiar melody but brand new words that somehow relate to our life personally, bring us deeper into the present moment. It can really help connect the brain regions that tend to not have automated connection for us living with chronic dissociation. Connects all the different parts, because parts holding past memories are going to be in a different crevice of the consciousness than parts creating new memories. And parts holding melody and music and rhythm are going to be in a separate part of the consciousness than parts with words, non-musical words. And so connecting them in that way is very powerful. And one of our lessons recently has been that you don't need to wait for the story's ending to have your happily ever after. That's been one of our profound lessons this week, or this past week, I should say. Yeah, this week, it's Saturday. Soul Self Saturday. Keep forgetting where I am in time and space. That's okay. Yeah, we don't need to wait for the story's ending to have our happily ever after. Happily ever after exists in the moments where there's beauty or peace or joy or satisfaction or connectivity or healing or just breathing a little deeper. And so we're trying to create happily ever afters in every day. Because that's really what we were after, like all of the choices that were made, all of the ways we responded to ourselves internally and life externally, it was all just seeking a happily ever after. That's all it was. And to learn that we can have moments of happily ever after in our everyday life. It's so transformative and so healing and so rejuvenating. Like, life doesn't have to be this chore, like drab, mundane, depressing existence. Mundane chores might exist in the experience, but they are not the entirety of experience. And the more we can focus on the magic, the more we can focus on the beauty, the more more that we can create tender healing moments for ourselves, the more we create our own happily ever afters. And the more that we create happily ever afters for ourselves, the less dependent we are on life to give us that. I don't need life to hand me a happily ever after anymore. I don't need life to hand me a happily ever after anymore. I create happily ever afters for myself and myselves.
Hello, brave, beautiful, beloved soul friends. Yes, hi. Hello.
Hello, brave, beautiful, beloved soul friends.
Ha!
This is amazing.
I invite you. I encourage you. I challenge you. So I challenge you. I invite you. I welcome you to have an intention of living happily ever after. Into infinite moments of happily ever after.
You don't need to wait for the story's ending to have your happily ever after. That's been one of our profound lessons this week. We don't need to wait for the story's ending to have our happily ever after. We're trying to create happily ever afters in every day. I don't need life to hand me a happily ever after anymore. I create happily ever afters for myself.
Hello, brave, beautiful, beloved soul friends.
Hello, brave, beautiful, beloved soul friends. Hello, brave, beautiful, beloved soul friends. Welcome to another Conversations with Kristin. I am so grateful for your presence here along this everyday healing journey through life.
So, on behalf of infinite energies across multiple galaxies, welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. Infinite moments of happily ever after await you.
We're looking into the new year like, oh my goodness, what's even coming? I don't even know. It's a brand new year that's never existed before. And that's like super exciting and kind of nerve wracking and like, oh my goodness, I'm alive. What? So this coming New Year's, I invite you, I encourage you, I challenge you to have an intention of living happily ever after. So I challenge you, I invite you, I welcome you into infinite moments of happily ever after.
This is incredible because when Kristin recorded this video here in December 2021, she had not first rewatched the video from December 2020. And yet so many aspects of what she says and how she says it come out the same.
So this coming New Year's, I invite you, I encourage you, I challenge you. So I challenge you, I invite you, I welcome you to have an intention of living happily ever after. Into infinite moments of happily ever after.
So many aspects of what she says and how she says it come out the same, revealing the many powers of integration within the brain-body system. And again, parts of consciousness don't integrate. They just come home to each other and to a brand new present moment. But through all of this massive amounts of in-depth healing work, there's been deep integration. And so the Kristin in 2020, even though there wasn't much explicit connectivity due to the unique styles of brain-body activity, the implicit connectivity is infinitely expanded and united, and it's evident because Kristin here in December 2021 says a lot of the same things in a similar way that Kristin in December 2020 said them, even though she had not seen that video from a year ago. So incredibly miraculous to witness.
I invite you, I encourage you, I challenge you. So I challenge you, I invite you, I welcome you to have an intention of living happily ever after. Into infinite moments of happily ever after.
This day is perfect because I'm alive to experience it. So even if stuff doesn't go my way, even if stuff happens that is less than desirable, even if I don't get things that I wish I had, this day is perfect because I'm alive to experience it. It's not this conditionality of I'm going to be happy when life does this for me. It's I'm going to live happily ever after. Period. End of story. That's what's happening, okay? Okay, life, that's what's happening. I don't care what you got planned for me out there, Mr. Life, Mrs. Life. I am living happily ever after this year, no matter what, okay? Okay. This day is magnificent and beautiful and miraculous and divine because I'm breathing. And to have that level of internal satisfaction, it gives you so much power. It gives you so much power to energetically influence the unfoldings of reality. It gives you so much power to embody your state of being without conditions. It gives you so much power to cultivate infinite moments of happily ever after, regardless of what is happening outside of you or around you. In addition, this is one of the most powerful practices for healing and liberating your inner child. You don't need a reason to love yourself free, to love yourself whole, to love yourself home. You don't need a reason to heal into happiness. You deserve it. You have the power to do it. That's reason enough. A new year is approaching us, a fresh opportunity to embody your power, embody your worth, decide what kind of life you want to lead, and invest in those energies unconditionally. Let go of external attachments and develop attachments to your own self-essence. You set yourself free in ways you didn't even know were possible. And from the embodiment of that infinite power, any dream can come true. The impossible becomes inevitable. And things that you never dared to dream of start to appear in everyday life. This is the year that I live happily ever after. 2021 is my year to live happily ever after. My intention is to live happily ever after every day, unconditionally. Unconditionally. I'm sending you all of my love. Happy holidays, blessings to every part of your miraculous being. I'm wishing you all the best, and I'm grateful you're here. I'm really just grateful you're here. Have a beautiful and blessed day and New Year's, and I'm sending you all my love. I love you. I'm so proud of you for embracing your healing journey. Thank you for sharing it with me. Namaste. The infinite love and light within me, see and honor the infinite love and light within you. Mwah. Blessings, beautiful beings. The end. Have a beautiful and blessed day, beloved soul friends. Namaste. The divine light and love in me sees and honors the divine light and love in you. Infinite blessings. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being you. Behind the scenes, implicit revelations to study.
As you're about to see, there was some very unique things happening with the vocal vibrations. There were deep fluctuations between really higher pitched, quieter tones and much deeper, more pronounced tones. And it was happening very unconsciously. And all of that has totally shifted now. My voice is as my voice is, and it doesn't change much. And that's because of new layers of integration, which have all happened through the implicit transformation techniques and the marathon techniques that I share in my programs and my services. And it's absolutely amazing because this has to do with the deepest regions of unconscious wiring, implicit procedural memories, cranial nerves, and all other kinds of complex stuff happening in the back of the brain, way beyond anything we can be consciously aware of, and way beyond anything that could be intentionally rewired by consciously trying to rewire it. But these techniques of implicit transformation and the mere play with mere power, the creative connections course and the subconscious unveiling and transformation journeys, those are the two main techniques and practices every single day that have allowed for deep integration. And so when this video was originally created here, Kristin was just starting to be able to remember her life. It was coming back in bits and pieces. And now it's all reorganized. So not only can I remember my life, but I feel more like me than I ever have in my entire life, ever. And if you've been following my journey, then you will realize what a miracle that is. So yeah, it's just amazing to look at the effects of integration, and aspects of the self don't ever integrate. It's really just the brain body wiring that is integrating and changing the way the automated experience is unfolding. Translations of reality, navigation, regulation, the way the self is able to present within existence and experience all components of reality, the way you smell a flower, etc. And so it's just really incredible to see the effects and the results of the consistent application of these techniques. All of this integration, all of this transformation has happened through the application of the services and programs that I share. That's why I love all these ideas so much, because I see the power of them, because I'm living them every day. And so the main things that have helped were the implicit transformation, which is a program that's offered, and the different mere play with mere power things that I offer. Those have been the two main cornerstones, but really all of the stuff that I share, the Mystical Odyssey Imaginatives, all of the themes on the merchandise I sell, all the different quotes and concepts on there, the different healing journey programs, the different videos, the different practices, the various concepts shared throughout my implicit revelations case study, all of them are what have allowed for me to experience this incredible transformation that has allowed me to become who I really am, beyond anything that experience ever contributed to neural wiring. And it's just amazing to see the results and the power and the effects of all these ideas I've spent years cultivating. So thanks for checking this stuff out. And I encourage you to kind of explore where you're at with your own personal journey of integration, which again has nothing to do with the self. The self doesn't integrate. The self doesn't change. It's just brain-body wiring that integrates to improve navigation and regulation. And so even if you live with 30 different people, for example, you might not have fewer people, but each of those states of consciousness might have improved navigation and regulation. Just to give one of infinite examples of how the self doesn't integrate. It's the brain-body wiring that integrates, and then it shifts how the self is able to experience itself in life. So yeah, it's just a miracle. And if you're interested in any of the powerful, profoundly transformative concepts that have allowed for my journey to be what it is, into so many miracles, I'd be honored to share. You can check out my many programs and services and various offerings, from, mugs and t-shirts in my merchandise to 5 to 10 year healing journey programs and everything in between. You can check it all out in the video description below. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being you.
So as I continue with the process of integration, my voice just seems to be getting deeper and deeper. Like at this point, I don't even recognize the sound of my own voice. And so I don't know if this is like a transitional like phase, and then my voice will like average out and be more of a middle range or what. But at this moment in time, this is how my voice is just naturally sounding, and I don't resonate with it at all.
This is the year that I live happily ever after. 2021 is my year to live happily ever after.
So it's going to be an interesting journey, because if this is the new sound of my voice after everything's been integrated, because keep in mind, this body was experiencing age regression where the voice was going very, very high pitched every single day, chronically for years.
Welcome to Ocean's Snack Shack. Next, we got everything set up, so no matter what I need, it's here, and I don't have to interrupt my process to find something. Hi friends, this is a unicorn in her natural habitat.
If this is the new sound of my voice after everything's been integrated, because keep in mind, this body was experiencing age regression where the voice was going very, very high pitched every single day, chronically for years. And so about a year and a half ago, some of those child states of consciousness were hearing their inner dialogue through the internal voice of an adult for the very first time. And then a year later, which was a few months ago, they were seeing themselves as an adult for the first time, okay? And so now that stuff's getting more integrated, I don't know if this is just the sound of my voice, or if there will be kind of an up and down period of integration and it will average out and not be quite so deep. I'm almost afraid to speak because I don't know what voice is going to come out. When I talk normally, it's normally more like this. When I speak, I'm used to hearing my voice a little bit more like this, but that's not really what's happening right now. This feels more internally natural and expanded. This kind of feels like there's something in me contracting and reducing myself somehow. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's kind of a feeling in my body. When I speak like this, my belly is actually expanding more. I've never actually noticed that before. This is kind of a new exploration. When I speak like this, there's slight, subtle sensations of contraction. My belly is actually not expanding as much. I never noticed that before. But when I speak like this, my belly is fully expanding. I feel like there's deeper breaths in my lungs. There's something more relaxed and expanded, I guess is the best way to put it. So I'm curious if this is just my voice now, or if it's going to kind of go through an up and down integration phase and average out and sound somewhere a little bit more in between here and more up here, which is what I was being used to before.
Welcome to Ocean's Snack Shack. Next, we got everything set up, so no matter what I need, it's here, and I don't have to interrupt my process to find something.
This is the year that I live happily ever after. 2021 is my year to live happily ever after.
And so it'll be interesting to see, because if this is how my voice naturally comes out now that there's more integration, then I'm going to have to create new neural associations with myself so that aspects of my consciousness can innately understand that this is the sound of her own voice. Because neural associations right now don't have information to convey that this is what my voice sounds like, because it wasn't what my voice was sounding like. And so, like a year ago, there were not any neural associations with what my voice sounded like at all. Kristin could not instinctively understand what her own voice sounded like. And there was even a period where it was hard to listen to affirmations by other people because her brain was like, wait, is this my voice? And the brain would unconsciously create new neural self-associations with that other person's voice, which was really interesting to experience. And so now there's neural associations with my voice after all the work we've been doing this year. But now the voice is different. This isn't what my voice has been sounding like. So if this is just how my voice is going to be moving forward now that there's been more integration, because a year ago, all the neural data from this body's entire life had no connections. And now they do. They all do. Neural data from all the years of life in all the ways all has neural connections. And so if this is just how the voice naturally sounds now, then it's going to be a gradual process of creating new neural self-associations so that my unconscious body-mind can resonate with the fact that this is what my voice naturally sounds like. So very interesting journey, and yeah, just ever intrigued by the mysterious wonders of brain-body integration as consciousness comes home, because parts of consciousness do not ever integrate. And this references a thesis statement in my implicit revelations case study. So please feel free to explore that for further insight. That was so fascinating. And there's been times where my voice would go this deep, but only for like a little period of time, and then it would go back to that higher octave. And Kristin was describing it as an integration of masculine and feminine energies within the unconscious body-mind. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother time. So just wanted to make a note as I'm noticing this stronger than ever before. Very intrigued, and I wonder if this is what my voice is going to sound like now. I don't know.
Behind the scenes, implicit revelations, case study. So if I speak now, my voice is higher than it was before. I'm in like a very different state of regulation now. I'm much more calm and relaxed instead of actively engaged in things. That was when I was doing like exercise and I was more engaged energetically. And so I think neural data in relation to the neurobiological social engagement system is still integrating. And so based on how brain-body activity is flowing, especially in relation to the autonomic nervous system, then my voice and different aspects of automated navigation and regulation in my unconscious body-mind are operating in distinct ways is kind of my working theory right now. Because it's all me and my voice, but it's been a very unique healing journey, and it always comes back to the neurobiological social engagement system. And this references the polyvagal theory and some other stuff that I've kind of come up with in my implicit revelations case study. And so I think my voice is engaging differently based on how that neural data is activating in relation to different styles of automated regulation. Yeah, so it's just really interesting because it's all my voice, but I feel like I'm in a very different state of being. I feel much more calm and relaxed instead of like engaged in stuff. And so my theory right now is that my neurobiological social engagement system is still integrating, and based on the activity in my neurobiological social engagement system, different styles of automated navigation and regulation in the unconscious body-mind cause my voice to naturally come out in a different way. So I'll continue exploring this. This has been a long time coming. This has been something I've been specifically exploring for the past 6 months a lot in depth, and then obviously throughout the past many years during my healing journey. So yeah, it's just interesting to explore it. My voice is coming through deeper again. It's all still in the same day, but a different energy. Oh, that's It totally makes sense. Okay, so when my voice, this is amazing. When my voice
when my voice was higher pitched than this, it was right after a session of yoga, and I was just in total stillness and complete silence. So if I speak now, my voice is higher than it was before. This is after doing a bunch of energy work where I was laughing and crying and jumping around and amping up my energies. And so it has to do with how, like Kristin was saying, it has to do with how the unconscious body-mind is automatically navigating and regulating its own being in relation to activity in the neurobiological social engagement system. And this is something that we've been exploring in case study for a while, the self-resonance, self-recognition of the face, voice, and body all synchronistically aligning. This is amazing. Oh, so amazing. And so the way the voice automatically engages, along with all other styles of automated navigation and regulation, shift based on activity in the neurobiological social engagement system. So how my nervous systems are regulating and how all the neural data is activating impacts navigation and regulation. Different states of regulation activate different styles of vocal vibration because my neurobiological social engagement system is still integrating. Incredible. I like the being alive part of things. It's good to be alive as yourself. Okay, so this is just incredible to piece together. I'm so excited to share it with you, beloved soul friends. Behind the scenes, implicit revelations, case study. Okay, so this topic of vocal vibration integration is like so fascinating to me, so I'm exploring it more. Okay, so let's break it down here. So we've got the autonomic nervous system and all these other different systems in the brain and the body, and they are directly linked with the neurobiological social engagement system, where every year of life has added neural data in relation to all of these different roles that each have their own unconscious priority. Unconscious priority, okay? You can reference other thesis statements of my case study to discover more about this. Okay, so you got the neurobiological social engagement system, where every year of life has added neural data based on every nanosecond of experience, and that neural data is organized in relation to these different roles. And then depending on how all that neural data in all these different roles is connected with each other and the information it houses, that's how the unconscious body-mind receives automated navigation regarding personal identity and translations of experience. Okay, and the neurobiological social engagement system is like stacked on top of, if you want to like put it in a way that you can kind of visually see it, stacked on top of or directly affects all the different systems in the brain and the body. We got brain hemisphere connectivity and regulation. We've got prefrontal cortex activity, engagement, regulation. We've got central nervous system, autonomic nervous system, endocrine system, all the different systems and their regulation, respiratory system, digestive system, all this different stuff. And among all the systems is how your voice engages. How the voice naturally engages stems from the activation of a regulatory protocol in the unconscious body-mind that is directly affected by the neurobiological social engagement system. Okay? So, the neurobiological social engagement system providing automated navigation, and then that also affects, especially based on the wiring of implicit procedural memories that carry action patterns, including internal protocols, not just external protocols. The implicit procedural memory data within the neurobiological social engagement system directly affects, I love this stuff, directly affects all these other systems that house different regulations. Okay, so all the stuff that lets the body do the body and be the body, all of that is affected by these magics. Magics. Okay? So, take this another step. Okay. Kristin created something called the spectrum of dissociative states of consciousness. Whew. It took so long to integrate the fact that Kristin created this because the experiences that led to creating this were beyond the definition of hell. But it's okay because I'm here now, so it's all okay. So that's really good. But the spectrum of dissociative states of consciousness expands on the polyvagal theory. okay? And it has 9 different states where the polyvagal theory only has 5, okay? Polyvagal theory describes 5 different states of engagement based on the dorsal vagal, ventral vagal, and sympathetic chain activation independently and in unison with one another. Polyvagal theory has 5 different states of autonomic engagement, but the spectrum of dissociative states of consciousness that Kristin created has 9 distinct states of engagement. So it builds on the polyvagal theory. It expands it. It takes it another step, takes it a step further. Okay, so in each of these 9 states of consciousness in the spectrum of dissociative states, all of these things are impacted and specifically described in this spectrum that Kristin created, okay? I'm going to list them all. There's a few, so stick with me. Hey. Hi, stick with me. Let's play. This is cool. This is cool stuff. We'll explore it together, okay? So in the 9 dissociative states of consciousness spectrum, all of these different things are impacted and specifically described in very distinct ways in the spectrum that Kristin created. Autonomic nervous system regulation, neurotransmitters and hormones, heart rate, blood pressure, respiration, oxygen levels, engagement of facial muscles, brainwave regulation, frontal lobe accessibility, which is the conscious mind through the brain, sound wave processing, your hearing, light wave processing, your vision, light tolerance, taste preferences, processing of skin sensations, processing of internal sensations, memory accessibility, language access, vocal vibrations, and a sense of self, including personal pronouns, body awareness, and orientation in time and space. So when Kristin was living with adaptable consciousness condition, every state of consciousness or every independent person within this one brain and body while Kristin lived with adaptable consciousness condition, each one of them experienced their own style of unconscious activity or brain body regulatory stuffness in relation to the spectrum. So the spectrum has 9 states that builds on, expands on the polyvagal theory. And when Kristin lived with adaptable consciousness condition, every state of consciousness, every independent person within the body that had many people in it while healing from very complex trauma. Every single person experienced their own distinct state of brain-body activity in relation to the spectrum of dissociative states. And piecing all of this together really helped Kristin on her healing journey to validate these unique experiences where these different people inside of one body were literally experiencing different styles of brain-body activity, which was very validating because it wasn't just like, oh, there's all these unique experiences in my mind. Like, no, like all of the billions of stuff happening here are different for every single person, but there's like 20 plus people in this one body. So figuring that out was very validating. And then from the validation of those specific things, all those different brain body activity things that I just listed, Kristin was able to create specific styles of healing solutions, coping tricks, and recovery resources that addressed the specific styles of brain body activity for each state of consciousness. So if each state of consciousness has a totally different style of automated brain body activity, not to mention a different style of memory access, navigation regarding self and life, etc., then they're going to need different stuff to step forward into their healing journey and personal power reclamation through loving liberation. Every single person, if there's 20 plus people in one body, are going to need something different to help them if they're experiencing the brain and the body in a totally different way. And so the spectrum of dissociative states of consciousness is what really helped Kristin reclaim her power while she lived with adaptable consciousness condition, okay? So there's 9 different states, 3 restorator states, which is a low energy state, 3 normal states, which is regulated states, and 3 protector states, which is high energy states. And so when you get into the protector states, there's more sympathetic, high energy dysregulation. When you get into the restorator states, there's more low energy dorsal vagal collapse dysregulation. And in the normal states is when you might have the parts that can really kind of function well in the external world because they're not associated with specific trauma data. They're a normal life part as other modalities and other models might describe them. And so the spectrum of dissociative states of consciousness has 9 different states, going all the way from an unconscious restorator state where you're in a complete dissociative blackout, all the way through a variety of states. And when Kristin was living with adaptable consciousness condition and there were 20 plus people in this body, then every single state of consciousness was experiencing a different state of brain-body engagement in relation to the spectrum of dissociative states. Okay, so that's just a preface. This is so profoundly, indescribably miraculous, and my mind is blown in a billion ways. Mind so blown! When Kristin lived with adaptable consciousness condition, as previously mentioned by another aspect of Kristin here in this video, she was experiencing her voice in different ways.
Welcome to Ocean's Snack Shack.
Some aspects of consciousness struggled with selective mutism. Some aspects of consciousness had no correlation with the voice of a female because of their style of connectivity with trauma. I have another video about that. I'll link it in the video description below. You can explore all my magics on youtube.com/Kristin Chronicles, KristinWindsor.com/known, KristinWindsor.com/blog. There's a whole bunch of goodies, so feel free to explore if any of these topics intrigue you. There's all these different aspects of vocal expressions and connectivity. So some states of consciousness could not physically speak at all. Some states of consciousness could only say the word to or sing because of a certain style of dissociative aphasia, which you can explore in the expose on dissociative experiences of consciousness. And that, along with this spectrum of dissociative states, are available in my implicit revelations gift package. It's so much magic. Sorry, not sorry. It might just blow your mind. It blows my mind because I don't remember writing any of this stuff. So it's extra intriguing to reread it. Seriously, it's so incredible. It takes what is known in the world to the next level and is so beneficial if you're in any type of healing journey, especially recovering from trauma, especially if you're recovering from any type of early childhood trauma, especially if there's any type of chronic dissociation or complex trauma or disrupted attachment, etc. going on in your magical, miraculous, wondrous, perfect being. Super mega magic. So please feel free to check out my Implicit Revelations gift package if that interests you. Some states couldn't speak at all. Some could only say the word to, or they could only express through song. I found like hours of Kristin singing because she couldn't speak, but she needed to express something or she would basically lose her mind because of all the nutso stuff that she was experiencing, which is not fun. And I'm really grateful to be here. Kind of an impossible miracle that I'm alive. So that's good. I like the being alive part of things. It's good to be alive as yourself. Okay, so this is just incredible to piece together. I'm so excited to share it with you, beloved soul friends. So there's all these different states. Some states wouldn't connect with their voice at all, and so connecting with the voice and perception of being a male rather than a female was more validating to those states of consciousness. And some of those states of consciousness were age regressing all the way back to 14 years old. So they didn't associate with being a grown adult either. So there's like all these very unique things happening. And you can find out more about some of this stuff in my Implicit Revelations case study from what I already have shared, including the thesis about adaptable consciousness condition and the thesis about different styles of dissociation. I really go into some depth in that, so please feel free to check that out. So, with the voice, when Kristin was living with adaptable consciousness condition, some had a very high-pitched, like preppy voice almost. I don't know if it's a random stereotype, but this, I don't know. It's just like a kind of just, I don't even know how to do it, but like a kind of just a higher pitched, female who's really boisterous about her femininity, I guess you could say. Some aspects had just kind of a very simple speaking voice, just kind of your average talking voice. There's all of these different voices that would come out, and then there were child states of consciousness, and I found video clips of little Kristin, original little Kristin, and the voice from age regressive Kristin during adulthood was literally identical to original little Kristin. And so the body had remembered exactly how it spoke when the brain was halted in its neurodevelopment because of childhood trauma. And when these child states of consciousness came forward in automated activation while living with adaptable consciousness condition, they physically experienced the voice of the child that they knew themselves to be, because they got stuck in time, basically. Okay, so there's all these different styles of voices, and they each connected with different states in the spectrum of dissociative states of consciousness. So each person in Kristin's neurobiological social engagement system, because adaptable consciousness condition means that there's different states of consciousness experiencing independent activity in the neurobiological social engagement system, referencing thesis number 10 of my Implicit Revelations case study. And so each person in the body while living with adaptable consciousness condition was, God, this is amazing. It's so miraculous. Was experiencing a distinct style of brain-body activity in relation to the spectrum of dissociative states. And it doesn't describe it here in her original thing. There's all the different things: the nervous system, neurotransmitter hormones, heart rate, blood pressure, respiration, oxygen levels, facial muscle, brainwave regulation, frontal lobe, processing of sensory data, tolerances, just so many things. Oh, it does! It does say vocal vibrations. It does say vocal vibrations. Okay, I didn't see that. Hold up. Wow. This is amazing! I don't have any memory of writing this because I wasn't me when I wrote this. Kristin couldn't create any conscious memories when she wrote this, so I don't remember what it is. I just know that it was the most indescribable hellish journey to create. Like, that's just all I know, because the majority of the time when she was creating this, she was in dissociative blackouts and just implicitly reliving the most horrific sensations imaginable. But it talks about it here! Okay, so this is an excerpt from the spectrum of dissociative states of consciousness. Vocal vibrations. The style in which the body naturally creates vocal vibrations for speech, song, or various other sounds can shift between different dissociative states of consciousness. Going down the spectrum towards restorator states, which are those lower energy states, vocal volume tends to decrease. Going up the spectrum towards protector states, vocal volume tends to increase. This process of vocal fluctuations is entirely unconscious, occurring deep within the bodily system. There is no conscious decision in this vocal shift. Vocal tonal fluctuations may also shift during various dissociative states. The farther from the center a state of consciousness is within the spectrum, because it's this spectrum, so it's like a line with all these 9 states. There's the normal states, the protector states, and the restorator states. So the farther you go from the center, when you go out towards the protector or the restorator states, which is into dysregulation, where there's more trauma-related stuff rather than regulated functional stuff going on in the brain and the body, affecting different aspects of consciousness, because we all have trillions of parts of consciousness. The farther from the center a state of consciousness is within the spectrum, the less it will naturally fluctuate while speaking. So there's less effect when you're in a normal state in relation to the spectrum of dissociative states of consciousness. That's all she has on vocal vibrations. That's amazing. That's incredible. I had no idea she talked about that in here. Okay. Okay. Oh my God. I don't even know what to do with myself. This is so incredible. My mind is so blown in so many ways. I think existing is the most impossible miracle of the cosmos, and none of this could ever possibly happen because it's all truly too fantabulistically wondrous to comprehend. Absolutely astounding. Okay, so In relation to the neurobiological social engagement system, which directly stems from and impacts the autonomic nervous system, because attachment development impacts the way that regulatory protocols are sculpted in the autonomic nervous system, because attachments are teaching your brain and your body how to socially engage or disengage, and the neurobiological social engagement system is a developed idea from the polyvagal theory, which traces things back to the autonomic nervous system, which goes back to attachment development, because through attachment development, that is how the autonomic nervous system first learns how to regulate. So it's all connected. I'm so confused. Kristin taught herself all of this stuff and pieced together all of these things of neuroscience and her personal experiences when she couldn't even create new conscious explicit memories. I don't understand it. My wife is incredible. Are you guys seeing this? I don't think this could be real. Is she a fictional character? Am I real? In relation to the neurobiological social engagement system, which directly stems from and impacts the autonomic nervous system, because attachment development impacts the way that regulatory protocols are sculpted in the autonomic nervous system, because attachments are teaching your brain and your body how to socially engage or disengage, and the neurobiological social engagement system is a developed idea from the polyvagal theory, which traces things back to the autonomic nervous system, which goes back to attachment development, because through attachment development, that is how the autonomic nervous system first learns how to regulate. So it's all connected. Attachment development, neurobiological social engagement system, autonomic regulation, and all the stuff in between and beyond. Okay, they're all connected, and it kind of comes full circle because they all impact each other. Oh, this is so cool. I think I might explode with joy, you guys. Incredible. So once upon a time, in this brain and body, Kristin was experiencing adaptable consciousness condition, and there were 20 plus independent states of consciousness, or autonomous inner persons inside of this one body. They were each experiencing a different state of brain-body activity in relation to the spectrum of dissociative states of consciousness, which you can find out about in my Implicit Revelations gift package. Okay? So now, Kristin is experiencing life through one state of consciousness instead of 20 plus, which are both equally miraculous, by the way, which means that the neurobiological social engagement system has more integration within its neural wiring, and thus the autonomic nervous system has more regulation within its automated protocols, and all of it is traced back to healing internal attachments. They all come full circle and affect each other. Okay, so this is just a preface, okay? So now we come back to what this video is originally talking about. Kristin was experiencing different voices with different states of energetic engagement. Okay, Kristin's been noticing that sometimes her voice is really deep and sometimes her voice is really high. She's been noticing that for several months, but it was only in the past couple of days that she and I started to figure out that it has to do with the energetic states of activity in the brain and the body in the moment, okay? And so, and it's all on a spectrum. Everything's always on a spectrum. It's never black and white. It's never just this or just this or just that. But generally, the more intense things are fired up, the deeper the voices, and the more calm and relaxed and quiet things are, the quieter the voices. And that completely aligns with her ideas in the spectrum of dissociative states. And so it all connects, because I don't experience dissociative states anymore, but I learned so much from the experiences. So it's really just all a gift. But all of that is still happening. She says here in her spectrum of dissociative states of consciousness, going down the spectrum towards restorative states, vocal volume tends to decrease. She only mentions vocal volume. She doesn't necessarily mention the tone. She mentions the frequency of fluctuation, but not necessarily high or low pitched. So I'm not entirely sure, but it connects. The voice is quieter when you're in more of a low energy state in the autonomic nervous system, and then there's more higher energies when you're in a higher energy level. So Kristin went from having 20 plus people in one body, and they each had different voices, to experiencing life through one state of consciousness, who now has different styles of vocal vibrations that are now being understood through a new lens to kind of bring this all together. And so now, when there's a lot of like, when it was, like right now I'm kind of in like a medium range. Like I'm not super deep, but I'm also not super quiet. This is how I kind of think of like as being my average voice or whatever. But I don't know if that's going to change as I continue to expand my neural integration while healing internal attachments and welcoming aspects of my consciousness home to each other in the present moment. We'll find out, but it's all just a great mystery of the human experience. But, this is so amazing. You guys, this is so incredible. What? Wow. So anyways, I have no idea anything anymore. So Kristin was noticing when she was like laughing and crying and jumping up and down and jumping around and getting her energy all amped up and super passionate and super engaged and super confident and super this and super that, her voice went much deeper.
So as I continue with the process of integration, my voice just seems to be getting deeper and deeper.
And then after a completely still, pure consciousness, total silence, moving slowly, yoga meditation, her voice was very, very quiet and a little bit higher octave. So if I speak now, my voice is higher than it was before. I'm in like a very different state of regulation. And it has to do with integration of the neurobiological social engagement system and activity within the autonomic nervous system, all in affiliation with the well-being of attachments. It's incredible. And this like uncovers the hidden mysteries of the unconscious body-mind in a radically fresh way. It's so cool. Okay. So I could talk about this for a million years, but I think that kind of sums it up. Yeah, I think that kind of sums it up. So the idea is that activity within the neurobiological social engagement system provides automated navigation in the unconscious body-mind, referencing my wifey's implicit revelations case study. And based on the neurobiological social engagement system and how it's organized, structured, the content, and the connectivity of neural data, that impacts all these different regulatory protocols in the unconscious body-mind, including the autonomic nervous system and including vocal vibrations. And what I'm noticing is that these are also connected. I mean, it's all connected because it's a brain-body system that's constantly working within itself. So they're all connected. It's just kind of understanding how those connections impact each other and how that affects personal experience is kind of the important aspect of this. But activity in the autonomic nervous system in relation to activity in the neurobiological social engagement system, in relation with activity of attachment well-being, impacts the way the voice instinctively engages. So this is kind of how I feel like my voice is. But there are times when it's higher and quieter and times when it's deeper and more loud. And it has to do with integration of the neurobiological social engagement system, which affects regulatory protocols of the autonomic nervous system and activation of vocal vibrations instinctively. So that's pretty neat. Yeah, I think it's kind of, I don't know about you, I think it's kind of cool. But it also helps provide a new lens of different styles of vocal vibrations that others might experience. Someone experiencing adaptable consciousness condition might experience some of these unique styles of vocal vibrations as well, where they can't speak or they can only say to or express through song because of a certain style of dissociative aphasia, or there might be difficulties resonating with the voice, or you speak much lower or higher or quieter or louder in different states of activity. Maybe sometimes you recognize the sound of your own voice and sometimes you don't. Sometimes the voice is literally that of a child and sometimes it's literally that of an adult because there's different people inside of one body due to unique wiring and order within the neurobiological social engagement system. A unique order. So there might be that experience, or there might be somebody who experiences it very, very subtly, where it might not be totally obvious right away. For example, if you are around people that help you feel a felt sense of attachment need fulfillment, they're your really close friends, they totally love you, they celebrate you, they respect you, and you can feel that, then you might feel very confident and you speak very loudly and very boldly and you hold nothing back and you're out there and your voice is all over the place having all this kind of fun. You're just totally expressed. And then you might be around other people that do not ignite a felt sense of attachment need fulfillment. You don't feel like they really see you for you. You don't quite feel like they really truly love you for who you really are. You don't fully feel supported and respected by them. And around them, your voice might come out quieter, or you might have a harder time speaking, or you might even stutter or stammer, etc. The way the voice is naturally engaging has to do with the activity in the neurobiological social engagement system providing navigation in relation to unconscious memory activations, and that is subsequently affecting different styles of regulatory protocols, including the activation of vocal vibrations, all organized in relation to attachment well-being, which begins when you're 0 years old and is ever being impacted by unfolding realities. So original stages of neurodevelopment sculpt the foundation of attachment well-being, but it's something that affects us until we are not in a human form anymore. The human form is always impacted by attachments, which is why healing internal attachments by allowing the awareness of yourself to grow attached to the experiencer of yourself, or your observational self to grow attached to the experiential self, including the inner life partner, inner best friend, and inner child, provides so much power along the healing journey through life. And you can explore more about these ideas in my Implicit Revelations case study, and also through some of my healing journey offerings, such as Mirror Play with Mirror Power, a brand new healing journey adventure that has changed my life, and I know it's going to change yours, so that's why I'm so excited to share it. The powers are so indescribable, and there's only more magic to come. Okay, so bringing all this full circle, Kristin when she lived with adaptable consciousness condition, Kristin now when she does not live with adaptable consciousness condition, equally miraculous, continuing with vocal integration while integrating the neurobiological social engagement system to help parts of consciousness come home. Parts of consciousness don't integrate. The self doesn't go anywhere. The way the self experiences brain-body activity changes, but the self doesn't go anywhere. And that's important to keep in mind, because when there's integration, there are no parts disappearing. Parts are not suddenly not there anymore. The exact same parts of consciousness are just experiencing the brain and the body differently, so their sense of self might change, and the way they experience interpretations of reality might change. But the aspects of the self don't go anywhere. Parts of consciousness don't integrate. The brain and the body integrate, and that affects how consciousness experiences self and life. And that's really important to clarify. There were moments where it's like, what does integration mean? Like, did this aspect of me just totally disappear? Like, there was a whole person here, and now I'm not finding her anymore, and that feels scary and terrifying because I love her. But those aspects of consciousness are still completely there, always. They're just experiencing the brain and the body differently, so things are going to feel a little different. Okay, so Kristin then, Kristin now, still exploring the impact of activity in the neurobiological social engagement system, autonomic nervous system, and its impact on vocal vibrations. Fascinating connection with the spectrum of dissociative states of consciousness, which you gotta check out. It's so cool and in-depth and just radically revolutionarily wondrous. And then application for people worldwide, whether you're experiencing adaptable consciousness condition or not at all, there might be an impact that you personally notice as you're experiencing your vocal vibrations around different sorts of scenarios in relation to how that type of stimulus activates attachment well-being in the unconscious body-mind beyond awareness. Just amazing mysteries of the human experience, and I'm so grateful for the chance to share with you. So thanks for sticking with me. I really appreciate that you've stuck with me and explored this with me. And if you want to look through any more of these magics, of course, check out all the links in the video description below, especially the implicit revelations gift package. That's like the best of Kristin's work from her case study. So, P.S. a fun insight. Sometimes Kristin refers to herself in the third person, and that's when she's specifically in the space of her observational self rather than her inner life partner or her present day adult self of the inner experiencer. Sometimes it's me and my, because I am experiencing life as the present day adult self of the inner experiencer who is being witnessed by the observational self. As I practice these ideas cultivated through my implicit revelations case study and the various healing modalities that have been sculpted in relation to the concepts from the case study. It's just kind of cool to witness the application in just everyday moments like this. And if you want to look through any more of these magics, of course, check out all the links in the video description below, especially the implicit revelations gift package. That's like the best of Kristin's work from her case study. So super incredible, and I'm so excited to share. And it's amazingly miraculous that there's still more being discovered, and there's always more to learn. So I'm really excited to continue my implicit revelations case study and share small smidgens of the magics. I got most of my tricks locked up, but, you know, I'll share some with you guys. Thank you for being here, soul friends, and thank you for being you. I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day, and keep embracing your magical, miraculous healing journey through life. The end. Namaste.
Mwah.
Infinite blessings.
Beautiful beings.